Welcome back to the Creator Spotlight here on the Spotlight, and joining us this week, wrestling personality, wrestling interviewer, wrestling correspondent, Samira. Samira, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you guys for having me on.
Thanks for joining us. So you were on
Sure.
Day After Dynamite with our pal Will Washington last week, and I do my usual run in on that show. And we've talked on Twitter a bunch of times, and that was the first time we've actually like seen each other virtually and met each other through virtually. I was like, oh well, if you're free this week, come on the show and we will chat with you on the spotlight. So we appreciate you joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, that was such a funny little interaction the first time we went, and you talk about the Stanley Cup, and you're like, "Oh, did they come to your door, Will?" I thought that was so funny.
I just started making run-ins and just talking hockey with Will, and I don't know how uncomfortable that the guests get because they're like, "Why is this idiot on our wrestling show talking hockey?" But I do my little cameo, so it seems like most people enjoy it. We appreciate you joining us again. And so for those that don't know, like, what do you have going on in the wrestling media landscape nowadays?
Well, things lately have been a little slow. I've touched upon lately that I had been going through a little bit of imposter syndrome, but I'm pulling through. But right now, I'm looking to revive up my YouTube channel. We're getting interviews back again, vlogs. Like everybody seems to love those when I post those, and it takes a lot of independent bookings as I work with High Tension Wrestling, Camp Leapfrog, and little places here and there. But I'm sure a lot of stuff will be coming soon as I will be heading to Nashville for SummerSlam weekend.
There you go. Now, how did you get started in like the wrestling media landscape, this crazy world that we're all part of?
So it's actually a funny story. I've grown up watching wrestling since I was a little kid. And so I made it into the Twitterverse when I was a teenager and like stuck with it. And as I was going to college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I went to community college and I ended up coming to the point where I wanted to do communications or teaching. And at that time, I had been posting on my YouTube channel like a bunch of different stuff. And then I got, this website had like, reported something. And I was like, oh, that like doesn't seem right or something. And we were just like talking and they're like, hey, we're looking for an interviewer like for the channel. Like, do you want to try it out? Like, and I was like, I'm like, well, I'm already thinking of going into communications. Like, let's test this out. Maybe like then this is what I meant to do. Did the interview and that the rest was history. Like I just joined on their team as the interviewer at the time, and it just went like that. And I've been doing this since 2018.
So longtime wrestling fan. Who are, if you have one favorite wrestler, definitely mention them. But who are some of your favorite wrestlers growing up as a fan before you started like interviewing wrestlers and like getting involved yourself?
Oh, number one, I always say this everywhere, Randy Orton. Like one of the reasons why I started watching wrestling, and of course like John Cena, because at that time period, that's when they were like the biggest faces in the company. So they were like big faces, Triple H, Batista. Like I love all that kind of era, the 06, 07 area type of people. So they're some of my favorite people.
There's been about 3 million John Cena and Randy Orton matches. Does one in particular stick out to you?
Oh gosh. I really like the one that they did at TLC. Oh my god, what year was that? I feel so old now. When they did it for the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship, that one was really
Okay.
good.
That was a ladder match, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I remember him like Orton won that, right? And he grabbed both titles. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, I still
Yeah.
think that was like one of the coolest things ever.
That was the joke of just, hey, we're gonna do John Cena and Randy Orton once again. Here we go. Of course, this is what we're going to do. What do you make of Orton's run? I mean, he's injured right now, but him and Cena less so going strong at 20 years, but he did just return. Orton like legitimately is still going strong and doing some of the best work he's done in a while this year. Like, what have you made of Randy Orton in 2021 and 2022 before he got injured?
I think he's, doing amazing. He still has it and he works well with all the younger guys and he helps them out. And I like, at first I wasn't like a big fan of him and like Riddle teaming up, but then like it grew on me as it went along. So it's pretty cool to see where he's like come from like even the beginning of his career to now because he still has it and he still wants to work and help others out. And I like love to see where they're taking him and it fits like any role that you put him in, he does really well at.
Yeah, he seems to be having a lot of fun too nowadays. Like, I feel like he feels like the pressure's kind of off him now. Like, he's one of the biggest stars that they have that's like still there. That's like a really recognizable, like, worldwide superstar and all that stuff. But like, it feels like recently he's kind of like taken a step back and been like, all right, I'm kind of the veteran now. Like, everyone respects me. I don't really need to prove anything anymore. Now I'm just gonna smoke weed with this guy and just kind of like do whatever. Because he was always notorious too for, he was like one of those guys who would always like pay the fine back when they were getting tested, and he would just like fail, pay the fine. Now he's teaming with a guy who, because I saw them joking about how, I think Orton said that Riddle grows his favorite strain, so that's why they teamed together. Like, that's what they were joking about. So I think it's kind of cool to see where Randy Orton's at in his career right now, kind of like taking himself a little less seriously, because like he already knows he's the man, and like everyone else knows he's the man at this point. So like, he just seems to be in kind of a cool place in his career.
Oh, 100%.
Needs to get healthy. Hopefully he's back at some point this year. So you've done a lot of interviews for various outlets. Is there one interview in particular that kind of sticks out to you of like, all right, that one went really well, and that one was like a dream and honor to do?
Oh my gosh. There's been so many, and like I always say each one is like my favorite because each one has something, and it's just like so amazing. I think the one has to be the recent one a couple months ago with Will Ospreay, because I just was not expecting that one to happen at all. I really didn't. And like it was great, we got on and like we did what we had to do, like, and he said what he had to say, and I came in with questions like how New Japan has theirs, like I have to write them in before we do the interview, and like, they pre-approve and he has to pre-approve, and it was nice then getting to talk to him, and then he's like, doing what he does and playing his character and like really just like bringing it out. And I love that. That's like one of my favorite things then with interviewing too, is like seeing that side of the character to them besides their personal self. It's just, oh my God, it's just so amazing to see. But yeah, I think he was definitely like one of the coolest ones I've done so far, because I'm just like, dang, I didn't think this would ever happen.
I remember watching that one where, because he talks about like Danielson and Punk and like wanting to wrestle them. I remember watching and transcribing stuff from that. I am curious, like you said that he has to pre-approve stuff and he gets pre-approved through New Japan. Have you like run into that elsewhere? Because Jensen and I, we mainly do like interviews with like independent wrestlers and whatnot. But when we did interview Carl Fredericks, like there was nothing like that. So is that happened elsewhere where it's like, okay, submit these questions and this is what you have to stick with?
So I think I've only had that with New Japan. So I also did like Fredericks and Kid before, and I've done Barrett Brown, but for them I didn't have to pre-approve question forms. I don't know if it's because maybe Ospreay's one of their bigger stars. I don't think I've ran into anything with AEW before where I had to get pre-approved questions, but yeah, they emailed me, said, hey, like what questions do you want to ask? So the first bunch of questions I sent over, there were a couple that they were like, hey, like we can't have you ask that. And actually one of them was about like Danielson and Omega and stuff. They're like, oh, you can't say that. So, I'm just rolling with the interview. We're talking and he brings it up and I'm like, okay, so maybe he must have been comfortable to talk about it. And he said it. And then I have to send them the interview back where they have to then approve of it, which I had to do with Fredericks and Kid as well, where I had to send them the interview. They have to like transcribe it from English to Japanese, make sure everything was right before you can post it.
Interesting. I wonder if that is the reason with Ospreay. I mean, he is pretty high status. Like he might just be a bit more careful about what gets out there. And it also could be on New Japan as well. That's interesting. I know you mentioned you're going to be in Nashville for SummerSlam weekend or week or all this stuff going on. I was considering going, and then Cody got hurt, and I was like, well, it's the whole reason I wanted to go, so I'm just not going, even though I lived in Nashville for like 10 years, and it's like my favorite city, and I'm still considering going maybe for GCW, and if I'm there for GCW, then maybe I'll also go to Flair's last match, because, why not? But what kind of stuff do you have lined up for Nashville that like you're really looking forward to?
Well, I'm really excited to see a bunch of like, my friends in the business. I haven't seen like a lot of them since Dallas or even before Dallas. So I'm really excited to see them mostly and like, hang out with them, film some collabs with some people. I'm gonna try and get some interviews down there. Hopefully, maybe work a show. We're gonna, try and see that out. But I'm just really looking forward to being surrounded by everybody and like just connecting with everybody, meeting new people, because that's like my favorite thing to do as well. Besides like interviewing, it's just traveling and meeting people that love the same thing as I do.
It's such a small world thing too, because like years ago, I met people in person that like I just met through other wrestling fans, and then like years later we wound up like working together, or like like it becomes such like a small world kind of close knit community. So that was one of the coolest things about like when kind of the COVID stuff kind of started wrapping up more and people started getting out more, was like me going out to like independent wrestling shows was like, man, I miss this. I miss being around other wrestling fans. So like, you're going to have a great time in Nashville. Are you going to go to SummerSlam as well, or just kind of the peripheral stuff?
Yeah, probably go to SummerSlam and a bunch of the other shows, GCW probably. Thinking of Ric Flair's last match because I kind of want to see that. That's like,
why do you guys want to see a man potentially like not keel over in the middle of the ring? Why?
I mean, like, I feel like just because it's going to be so historic, because he's had like this long career and then this is like his actual final match. Maybe. So I'm just like, that sounds like, interesting. You just like want to be there for it. You'll be like, oh, I got to be there.
I understand that, because that's kind of how I feel about it too. Because it's like, and also like being from Nashville, I know they're going to be doing the Municipal Auditorium, which is like a really cool venue. And like the rest of the card looks pretty stacked. Like they put a lot of really good matches up. Like I think Motor City Machine Guns versus the Wolves is on that too. I mean, it's like a really good card. Granted, listen, I don't want to see Ric Flair. Like, I don't want to see him. I don't even want to put this out in the world. Y'all know where I'm going with this. I don't want to see anything bad happen to that guy with like his medical history and his age and stuff. But like, if no one's going to stop him from doing it, it's just one of those things where it's like, all right, well, I guess I'll go. Like, if I'm in town, I'll go watch it, because like it would be cool to be there. But I also feel like if he can wrestle this match, he's going to keep wrestling more matches too. So like, I feel like this might just be kind of a facade, I guess, if you will. But that's cool. Have you ever been to Nashville?
This will be my first time going, so I'm really excited. But I also agree with you, like how it is a good card, because you're getting like multiple stuff from other companies where you're seeing like MLW, Impact. Like there's so many people coming in for this. So it's like also you're getting shows from different promotions as well. So like, why not?
Yeah. Have they announced his opponent yet? Ric Flair?
For Flair? No. Flair's opponent has not been announced.
I'm pretty confident it was going to be Matt Cardona, and he is hurt and they can't do it. I think that's
really?
Maybe. I think so. Just my guess. But because that would have been
I think it's going to be
a championship, and it kind of would have made sense.
I think it's going to be some type of multi-man match. I don't think Flair's doing a singles match. I feel like Jarrett's going to be involved, because Jarrett was heavily in that press conference, and Jeff Jarrett ties with Conrad and everything. Jarrett's going to angle himself into just another payday, because that's what Jeff Jarrett does. Bless that man. Samira, how'd you get involved?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What I was going to say, well, no, I was just going to start deep diving into their history with Jarrett,
the Horsemen,
and the whole thing. Yeah. So, anyways, that's a little bit before your time, maybe. If you're more like Randy Orton era, you might have just been a little late on the Jeff Jarrett in the Four Horsemen WCW stuff that we're talking about here.
That's what I got like Peacock for, watch all the ones. I love like going back and look at the old stuff, because it's cool. It's good to know that stuff as well, and it's like see it all play out. I love that. Yeah,
well, me and Jeremy are just old guys at this point. We're like the old school. Like, I mean, we're in our early 30s. Or getting to our mid 30s, man. Like, it's getting.
Why are you aging us? We're just old. Just say we're old.
Because we gotta get our stuff out there before all the new school, like, Samira and Bustleman Malcolm and Jay Shell and all these people wind up taking all of our spots. Like, it's inevitable. So let's have some fun while we're here.
We all help each other out. We all know. Oh my gosh, we do not step on anybody's toes. We help each other out around here.
I'm gonna be Triple H to just hold all these young talents back. That's why they're on our show every other month. We've legitimately interviewed all three of y'all now.
Yeah.
So yeah. But now I got to start burying you guys, because you are young and up and coming.
See, it's like being around Nick Wayne and Starboy Charlie and Billy Starks and Marcus Mathers, and just knowing like the future's all right there. Like, we're all toast. Once these kids get up to where we're at, we're all toast. Anyways, no, what was your next question, Jeremy? All that was nonsense that I just,
I was going to ask how you got linked up with Camp Leapfrog and High Tension, how you started working and doing stuff with them.
So last year, that's when I started getting more into independent shows, like working wise. I really wanted to do that. So I hit up my good friend Sam Laterna, who is a wrestling broadcaster here in like the Northeast, and she travels out. I was like, hey, I'm really wanting to get into independence. Like, could you help me out? Like, I ran through a announcing thing with her. Like, I sent her something, and we were just talking, and she was working with Camp Leapfrog. So she's like, I think it would be a good fit there. Like, I'll let you talk to whoever was in charge at the time. And we were talking, and then I was talking to Alex and Maestro, who owned High Tension as well as Camp Leapfrog, and we discussed things. And then once I started doing one show, we were doing more, and like, I'm so grateful that they continue to bring me in, and that is basically my home promotion now. And I like continue to learn, and they have me do stuff, and I get to meet like so many amazing people that are in this area as well. And it's just been like so much fun, and it's always a great time.
Does Camp Leapfrog still run on IWTV, or did they change platforms? Do you know?
So we did go on a hiatus last year, and from what I've been hearing, we are coming back very soon. I can't tell you when, but I do know that we are returning. And High Tension is actually having a show at the end of the month, which I'm sadly going to be missing to be in Nashville.
Gotcha. I can't believe Frog hasn't run since like around like October or so, something like that.
Yes, we took a hiatus for reasons, and
okay, sure.
yeah,
no, we have to get into all that. It's a great company, and I'm very big on independentwrestling.tv, and I noticed that it's been a minute, but it's good to know that that's going to be coming back, because a lot of good talent, good area for people to be wrestling in and stuff. So it's cool that you're involved with that. Very cool.
It's so much fun. I had like, as soon as like I got there the first time and we started doing like filming and stuff, it's just, everyone's so welcoming, and it's just such a fun, environment to be around. So I'm so glad, they continue to bring me in, and they're very supportive and all nice. Like, I have the best time with them.
Anybody from either one of those companies like stand out to you? As Jensen said, he is Mr. Independent, king of the indies, Steven Jensen. Any names that like stand out to you of like, okay, this is a guy that or girl that like kind of keep your eye on here?
Oh, definitely. I say this everywhere. It's Darius Carter. Every time I work with him, like when we were doing like maybe a backstage segment, like how he does his promos and gets into his character, I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then how he wrestles, like his presence, like, oh my God, he's like a great heel. Like, I'd love to see him go really, really far, really far. Oh my God, a woman. Oh my God, there's so many. Oh, man, because I think of everybody, because everybody does such a great job there, and I'm just like, they're all good. Shay McCoy is also really good. She's good with Ben Weber Hatfield, who recently took off his mask. So that was like really interesting, but they're a good tag team.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like getting to be there, like, at then the LVAC show where a very good professional wrestler, or Avery Good, like, retired. So like, it was sad seeing that too. So it's fun because you make friends here, and like you get to go to these shows, and it's sad then you see them, go.
Yes. For those of you who might not know, a very good Avery Good, the former Dasher Hatfield. So, there was a lot of gimmick changes around, once again, stuff we don't have to get into, but Boomer Hatfield, big fan of him as well. Like, to see him take the mask off. And it was funny because when he took his mask off, I remember Twitter being like, this is like a really handsome guy. Like, why was he in the mask to begin with? Like, all the girls were like, dude, this guy's really good looking. Like, so I thought that was pretty funny. I like Shay McCoy as well.
Yeah.
The outfielders was that team. They had a lot of really good talent go through there. Max the Impaler, I know, has gone through there. I like Bobby Orlando and Rob Killjoy a lot. Those guys are like kind of Southeast guys that I know have made their way out there. So yeah, you're surrounded by great talent. Darius Carter, I think, is a really good shout out as well. Someone who doesn't get enough love, probably still flying a little under the radar, but like doing really well. So yeah, awesome.
Samira, what are some of your goals, long term, short term, just goals in wrestling or life?
Well, long term is definitely, I would love to sign a contract with the wrestling promotion one day, like with the TV deal, to be like their on-air correspondent. That is my biggest dream. And, hopefully it comes true one day, just working hard to get there. Short term, I just really want to work more independent shows to I want to continue to learn to do better and keep traveling out, because I've been doing a lot of recently in the past year, doing a lot of shows. So I want to keep doing more and learning, learn ring announcing. I tried out commentary. Don't feel like it's for me, but it was a great opportunity. But, I just want to continue to learn and do more podcasts with people talk about wrestling. I feel like I don't do that enough, and I love doing that. So, and of course travel and just be with a bunch of friends, because I love being surrounded by people that love the same thing as I do. We just talk and have a good time and then watch all the wrestling.
Yeah. Could you beat up Denise Salcedo?
Does Denise know how to wrestle?
I mean, she knows how to throw Sean out of the ring.
Oh yeah,
she knew how to punch Sean Ross Sapp in the dick. She knew how to do that. She's very short. Funny. I feel like you can just kick her.
Does she know how? Has she trained before?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I could be mistaken, but I don't think
so. I don't know for sure, but I mean, it's pretty likely she has. I would say that she's probably had just a little less training than Louis Dangor has, probably.
Oh gosh, because he went up Louis Dangor.
Huh?
I'm asking Samira if she could beat up Louis Dangor. Just beat these people up.
Jeremy just wants me to beat up everybody.
I asked last week for Alex McCarthy to be cut with a sword. So
yeah, you did.
God.
Yeah,
everyone thinks I'm friends with all these media people. I'm trying to pit everybody against each other, and then I'm just the last person standing.
Jerry has some weird wrestling media hit list that he's just been casually trying to slide his list through to other people.
Denise Salcedo is my Swiftie bestie. I don't want her to get beat up. I was trying to, break the silence there to see if you could just fight Denise Salcedo.
Oh my God.
She does all the ring announcing and commentary and all this stuff. She's in a very prominent position. Just beat her up, take her spot.
No.
Cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase on her.
Oh my gosh, no. I actually don't know how to wrestle. I don't know if I would want to be a wrestler though, because I don't know if I could take the pain, but I always say I want to get in the ring to learn the basics, because I feel that's very important to know in this business. But I am not going to beat up Denise. She's doing a great job. We're not going to beat up Denise.
Wow. We love Denise Salcedo here. This gets back to where Denise, big Swiftie kisses to you.
Have you taken any bumps before, Jeremy, in a wrestling ring?
In a wrestling ring? No, I took one on the floor. I just, I did a psychosis leg drop.
I remember. Yeah, that was epic. Yeah, that was on the floor. Did you have some pillows down on the ground or something for that at least?
Kayfabe, brother. Kayfabe.
Okay. Right on the ground. Gotcha. Yeah. Nice. I've done it before. I've never wrestled, but I've taken bumps in a ring before, and it is, it's very, very painful. It's one of those things. It's just yep, they're not kidding. For me, it was always the travel. I was I would never be able to get into a business like this because I don't like flying in airplanes and stuff. So I was this is just not going to be for me. But I can cover it. I can do that. That's how I can get involved. Is I can be a guy talking about wrestling, and then I can do something. Oh, go ahead, Jeremy. Go.
I think it's cool, and I think it's good that you want to at least get in there and learn the basics, because I know interviewers aren't they're not always getting physical and stuff, and a lot of promotions are like that. But if by chance you just need to take a bump for an angle or a storyline, then you'll be practiced in that, and you at least you understand what these men and women go through when they're in there wrestling around and wear and tear on their body for however many nights a week. So I do think that's good that you're I'd like to at least get in there and try it out and see what might happen. Have you talked to anybody about potentially hey, can I just take a basic class or anything like that?
So I was talking with Barrett Brown. He's one of my good friends in professional wrestling, and we're if we're ever in the same area and there's a ring, I asked him if he could teach me. That would be really cool, because he does run a school in Texas. So I think that would be cool. Like I said, I'm down to learn to see what they go through. They God bless them. They could do it. I can't. Like, I can't take pain and things like that. But I want to know, like, what it's like for them to go through that. And then, like you said, if there's ever a time where I'm going to need to take a bump or something, then I'll know and be prepared for it. Because, you just never know nowadays.
Yeah. I know a lot of wrestlers credit like Bobby the Brain Heenan. They say like he was a great worker. Like people don't really realize it. Like, but like he could really like go in the ring, or at least he could take a lot of really good bumps, and that added to his character so much because it's not just a guy out there just talking trash over and over that never gets his comeuppance. Like eventually he's gonna get knocked over and the crowd's gonna go crazy and he's gonna get some payback. So I like that a lot. Jeremy, I'm gonna steal the question you normally ask this week. Okay. What is the coolest thing in the room that you're in right now? We'd like you to show us on camera if you can.
Oh,
we ask everybody.
That's actually a good question.
Yes, this is our closer for everybody to kind of show off their personality and what they're proud of. It could be whatever.
And what's the flag behind you?
So maybe it is what's behind me. The flag behind me is the Lebanese flag. I am Lebanese, and that's where I come from. I wasn't born there, but my parents were, and this is where I'm from. It's a big part of who I am, and that's why I always have it. And like on my social media, I have like my name written out in Arabic. I have the flag in my bio because it's very important to me and where I come from, and especially there's not a lot of Arabs in the business. There's very few of us, and like I like to represent where I come from. So maybe this is the thing that's like most coolest, most valuable thing for me right now in this room. Is this.
I like it. It. Do you have any like wrestling stuff laying around by chance?
Oh my god, yes I do. It's a lot of it is under the bed, but I think one of the coolest things. Oh my god, my earpiece fell out.
You're good.
I recently got this a couple of months ago. I mean, it's not anything to like, a lot of people, but it is to me. Oh, this is the wrong one. So, when you go to shows and you get like, for media, you get like your passes. Yep. So I save all of mine because I think they're like the coolest thing ever. But the one that I really liked the most was the one that I got from NWA. I went in to do just interviews for the channel I was working for at the time. And they just like, they gave me the badge. And I had like the best time because this comes with like a really cool memory. Like I had the best time in Atlanta and everybody was like so nice to me. I know everybody and I talk to them. And then when I always see them, they're like, hey, when are you going to come back for a show and stuff like that? So I don't know. I just like had a good time. So these usually hold a lot of like memories, like cool things that I do. I like to keep all that stuff, like tickets and stuff like that.
I think that's really cool. Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
When I would cover UFC events, I would always save my lanyards and my credential, and then I would hang it up next to like the poster and stuff. That's how I would decorate my little man cave and everything. So you should save that stuff. It is a great memory, and keep saving that stuff. I kind of wish I had always kept saving my credentials and lanyards, but I didn't. So now who knows where they are? Probably in my parents' attic somewhere.
I also have. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
Also is like there's a poster. I think it's down right here, but it was the first poster with my face like ever on it for a wrestling show. So like that meant a lot to me too. Like when I saw it, I wanted to cry. I was, oh my god, no way! Like because it's crazy to me to see something like that. Like I'm on the poster. What? Like why am I on the poster?
That's awesome. You got to keep stuff like that.
That is
it's so exciting.
Yeah, you definitely do. Samira, we appreciate you joining us. Samira will be around everywhere in wrestling for the coming year. She's going to probably beat me up and take all of my jobs. And she's going to beat up Steven Jensen and take his jobs as well. Let everyone know where they can find you at, Samira.
Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me on. This was like so much fun, and I'm happy you guys asked me to be on. Where you can find me is like on my social media, but most importantly, probably Linktree, because it's linked with all my stuff, my YouTube, my Twitter, my Instagram, like everywhere you're going to probably find me on things. It is link, then in tree is like tr.ee/the it's Samira. You could probably like find it right here. Even with like my Twitter, it's like the link is in the bio.
There you go. Again, thank you for joining us. Follow all of Samira's work. Go to it's Samira on Twitter. Yeah, the link tree is in the bio, so you can get to the link tree from there. And again, thank you again, Samira. We appreciate it. And guys, we'll be right back here on the Spotlight.